The Bailey Howe Library has access to numerous historical newspaper archives. Right now I want to show you one of them in particular, and that's the New York Times. To access it, you'll go under Find, Articles and More, and then go under the listing along the right-hand side for subjects and locate newspapers. The New York Times is one of several that you'll see on this page, and you want to click New York Times ProQuest Historical Newspapers to start searching. Like many databases, this database provides you with options to search on 3 search lines, each connected with a Boolean operator, and, or not. You also have the option to connect words across a line using an OR. There are numerous fields in the database that you can search. Among these are abstract, although there are not very many, author, document text, publication, etc. For the New York Times, I usually leave it to all fields and text and use other things to limit. If you page down the screen, you'll see that you have options to limit dates and document type. Among the document types you get that are useful for a newspaper are article, classified ad, editorial, editorial cartoon, and especially front page article. Let's run a search now for an event. When you search for an event, one thing to remember about newspapers is the events don't start being covered in the paper until after they occur. Seems obvious. Let's look for information about the assassination of John F. Kennedy. The event occurred on November 22, 1963. We have several ways we can search. We could search using keywords and setting dates. But for large events, one thing that I recommend, or if you want to browse through a paper for a particular date, is set the date. So we'll set it for the day after, November 23, 1963, then page down and select the front page article option. We don't have to have any search terms to actually go in and look at the newspaper this way. Start the search, and it will show that we have 7 results. For each item on this list, we now see the headline in blue, and that's a link, as well as a link to the citation, a link to the full text, and even though we don't need it, there is a link to find it at UVM. After running my search, if I needed it, I could narrow my search down some by selecting things like document type, date if I hadn't done it already, etc. This search was pretty successful, and I'm going to go in and start looking at the paper. Rather than clicking on the title, I recommend clicking on Citation Abstract. This will take you to a little bit more information about the article. A little summary on this one describes some of the information about it. But then over on the right-hand side, I have the option to look at a page view, which is clickable. And I recommend this for several reasons. It will take us to the whole page that this article appears on, and it will give us the option to start flipping through the rest of the newspaper. As you can see, the whole page has come up. I can now see the headline, I can see the images, I can go to the next page in the paper if I want and start flipping through it. And you'll see there are going to be pages and pages of coverage for this particular event. And when I want to see a particular article or zoom in, all I need to do is click on that zone of the paper and it will bring it up for me. In the Mac, you're going to have to open it with your PDF reader, but on the PC, it'll just open right there in the page, and now it shows me that article. Now, let's stop this search, return to the search page, and run a search for something on a topic. It requires a slightly different set of skills. Right now, I'd like to search for information relating to the internment of Japanese Americans in the time immediately following the bombing of Pearl Harbor. This is a slightly more complex search because it happens over a span of time, it's topical, and one of the challenges when searching this database is selecting the proper vocabulary to use. I may have to run several searches to find exactly what I want. and I may need to adjust my vocabulary and think like someone writing at the time that the article was published. I'm going to search for Japanese, and I'm going to think of all the ways I know of to describe the idea of internment camps. I can do internment or camps, and I can actually add another or here and do relocation. If I want to, I can think if I need to put these in a particular location. Sometimes the document title can be helpful, but I actually want to search all fields and all text in this particular case. As I don't have more than 3 lines, I don't need an extra one. If I needed it, I could add it. I am going to set dates, and I want to set a date range in this particular case. So let's say December 15th, 1941, so starting a week after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and go through December 31st of 1942. If I was afraid that I would get too much, I could begin to narrow down in document types. And in this case, actually, let's limit it to articles and front page articles. Another perspective I might take would be searching for editorials. And I'm going to run this search now. This search yielded 581 hits. That's still a lot. And if I wanted to narrow this down, one thing I might do is go back and selectively choose dates of time that are shorter than what I initially selected. I can do that after running my search. I could say I don't want to go all the way to December of 1942, I only want to go through July, and I can update that search. That brings me down to 365 hits. As I look through my hits, again, it's going to show me my words highlighted, and to see a particular article, I'm going to look at number 3, 800 West Coast Japanese go to enemy camps as Army maps widen prohibited zones. I'm going to click on Citation and Abstract. It's going to give me a short overview of what this article is about. Because in this case I wanted to see this particular article, I can click on Full Text PDF, open it with my PDF reader, and that will show me this particular article. By going back to the page view, I can see the article in context again. This tells me what other articles are on that page, allows me to page through the entire issue, and lets me see things like advertisements as well, which can be interesting to place the time in context.